So I guess everybody liked the video that I just posted about Mastin Labs' newest preset pack. They're just on fire, man. Everybody's loving these presets. They're really amazing. And the cool thing about them is they work well for so many different genres. Like, I mean, food photography, landscapes, weddings, portrait work, editorial type stuff. I mean, they're just amazing. So really digging it. But I got a bunch of questions after I posted the video. You guys were blowing me up, DMs, emails, all kinds of stuff. Love it. Do more of that. I'm all about helping out and giving back to this great community. But anyway, I posted something and said, hey guys, send me a few files, send me some raw files, and I'll do like a live editing session with your files. So I'm not gonna do this all the time, but maybe once a month or something, and when new presets come out. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to take like 10 or so. I think I got like 20 photos from about 5 or 6, 10, 15, no, 6 or 7 different people, I don't know, but it's gonna be fun. So we're gonna jump into the computer again, and we're gonna edit other people's photos this time, and just see what the Fuji pushed pack looks like. It's gonna be awesome. All right, so let's go. Okay, I think we're all set. So I know a ton of people are gonna ask me, what is Fixer? It's Fixer Lab, P-F-I-X-E-R. I'll link to it below. I don't get paid anything. I just really believe in it. It's this little icon up here. But basically it is a little keyboard that you can use, like a MIDI controller, if you know what that is. And you can use that to edit your photos, or it is a set of like keystrokes that you can plug in to your regular keyboard, which I use mainly to edit, and just makes everything a lot faster. So anyhow, got some great feedback from everybody. Loved it. You guys are super awesome. And let's go ahead and get started. So the first person that sent some photos in, she sent in 2 photos, is Erica Nino. And this is a beautiful photo. Love it. Maternity, perhaps wedding too, I'm not sure. But cool flower crown. Great. I love how I'm like hovering around maternity, you know. But anyway, I don't know if I just see a DNG file, so I'm not sure if this is Nikon, Sony, whatever. But to be honest, the Sony presets are really popping, and I like this one, so we're gonna go with that. That's one click, you guys. I didn't even add any grain yet. Haven't messed with all hard, all soft. I like, if you're going for that push look, I like the all hard. We'll throw some medium format grain, and then voila. First, and then the second, before and after. Before, after. And let's do just a zoom in on that. You guys, isn't that incredible? So there you go. I mean, you could tweak around with it, pull some highlights back in. Nothing's really clipping. I mean, this looks blown out, but nothing's really clipping, so we click on that. Not really clipping any whites. But anyway, let's go to the next one. So next photo, and again, another beautiful photo. Everything's going really blue in this. I think just because it looks like it's a little blue on the white balance. But once again, I like these 160s. I think this one would look good with some softening, and boom. And then I'm gonna do basically 3 bumps on the exposure bar. I've got a keystroke for that, and then we're gonna warm this guy up a little bit. Oops, wrong way. We're gonna warm this guy up a little bit, and then yeah, I'm really liking that. And then we're gonna take the tint down to make it a little more natural, and there you go. So beautiful. Let's look before and after. That's a zoomed in look. Have you noticed how Mastin Labs, like when you use them, it basically softens the skin? You see some wrinkles. I hope the client doesn't see this, but you see some wrinkles. It's natural. Everybody's got them. You see a few little wrinkles up there, but you know, Mastin just softens the skin. Everything looks smooth and lovely, and I really dig that. And so there you go. That's those are just like a few clicks, guys. So not doing really a ton. And Jennifer Posh Porter sent this guy in. Not a guy, girl, looks like, but sent this photo in, and I love this look right here. This is super cool. I would definitely like pull a few of the highlights back in on this one. And so this one is one thing I noticed people were saying is that everything's getting a little pink. And actually, I'm sure Kirk actually did that on purpose, because if you've ever pushed Fuji film, you know that it gets a pink cast to it. Everything just kind of starts rendering pink. I like it. It reminds me the way pushed Fuji film should look, so I'm not going to complain about it. But if you don't like it, then go in your magenta slider on the luminance slider and, you know, pull it to the right a little bit. You could even pull the red probably to the right a little bit, and it's going to pull some of that out. So anyway, here's a before and after. I love how it really darkens the background, and the subject just pops off there. Isn't that cool? Isn't that so cool? So let's I'm going to do undo real quick, Command Z, and you'll see how the pink comes back. Undo, and then, oh, there's the highlights. But that's basically what that is doing. So here's another one from Jennifer, and we're going to do straight off the get-go, the Fuji Pro 400H +1 SP. I dig this. This looks really great. Let's come down here and pull a little bit of highlights back in. I'm gonna give it a little more clarity, bump the blacks a little bit. That was the second click, and then maybe up the contrast a little bit, and let's do zoomed in look. The skin tones look so natural. Look how just real and authentic the skin tones look. It did darken his eyes a little bit, so if you're super into that, you could go back, hit your brush, and then you know, put a little more light in the eyes. But yeah, there you go. All right, so here's another one from Jennifer. We're just gonna try and shoot for one click on these. Bam, there you go. Dig it. Zoomed in look. You guys, I don't know how many of you have actually shot film and how many haven't, but if you've shot film, your mind is just kind of blown right now, because these are so good. So this one was a little, let's go back. This was a little overexposed in the background. Skin exposure looks good and everything, but everything's really really flat, I would say. Like, the lighting is really flat, and this is one of the things I think where these presets really excel is in like flat lighting. So if you shoot a lot like in you know, shaded areas or Pacific Northwest or East Coast where you get a lot of clouds, see how the contrast just changes? So you have really flat, everything's just kind of, and right here everything pops. See how her hair comes alive right there? Like, I didn't even notice this strand of hair over here, but here it just pops. And the color, I love how it brings out the color around her eyes, lips, nose. Anyway, so that's a great photo from Jennifer, and this is the last one from Jennifer. I love how this one with the blue, I mean, just look how those colors pop. And again, we're in shade and just really flat light, but I feel like these presets really bring it alive. So okay, next one, this is from Whitney Tidmore, and you guys, I'm gonna try and really rush through these and get these done. Anyway, I like the 160 NS on this one. That looks really good. You could bump a little bit of light in there. I'm not gonna mess around with anybody's composition or anything. If you'd like to know what I would do, email me later. But anyway, there you go, before and after. These are just natural looking presets, you guys. They look really natural, and I love that. Alright, so here's one from Cheyenne Williamson, and this is actually a JPEG file, so this will be interesting. So you can see it's a JPEG file, and that means that there's not a lot of workability. So it's always interesting to apply presets to JPEG files to see what they do, see how the image reacts, and you know what? That's actually not too bad. It's I would say it's probably not as good as what you could do with something like a raw file for this, but it kind of makes the greens look really nuclear. And anyway, so I pulled some saturation, and you could tweak around the luminance and bring those greens down. I would actually maybe drop the exposure a little bit, maybe -0.20, and there you go. So it's a great photo. I'd love to see this like a square crop. Let's shoot before and after. So this is a JPEG. So it already was like, you know, compressed and already had like a little added contrast and whatnot. But this just looks like film. Again, I know you guys are probably getting tired of hearing me say that, but here's a underexposed photo, and again, like I said earlier, this is kind of where these presets shine. But underexposed in really flat light is kind of challenging. It's kind of tough. So let's do this +2. It makes it really contrasty. So we're gonna make it soft, add some grain, and then we're gonna bump the exposure. I'm gonna go almost a full stop. We're still a little yellow. We're a little red. I think the bricks are throwing that cast plus her dress. I would cool that off even a little bit more. And then, so basically you can see what I did here. I did on keystrokes, but moved the temp down a little bit, cooled it off a little bit, and then and went down on the tint as well. And so here you go, before, after. You got a little vignetting, natural vignetting. I don't know if you like that or not, but it's there. And on this one, you can always do some other things too. You can pull some shadows out. You can pull some darks out, lighten it up a little bit. If you don't like, you know, any of these colors, you can always mix and mess around with them. But I'm pretty happy, pretty pleased with where we came from this one. I mean, look at this, muddy and just, you know, underexposed. And then look at this, how they just pop off the page. All right, thanks Brandon for sending that one in. And here's Eve Grandmont. Eve Grandmont, thanks for sending these in. Adorable little cute kiddo. And we're gonna do Fuji 400H+1 blue SP. And then I'm gonna throw a little extra exposure in there and warm it up and give it one bump on the red tint. So I think that was 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks, and there you go. See how everything's just kind of flat? It just kind of all blends in here. She doesn't have a lot of depth of field working with. See how everything's kind of in focus. A good way to, when you're shooting at a a wider depth of field, you're not really losing focus in the background. So a good way to do that is to, you know, use a preset like this where it really pushes some contrast in there, and your subject really pops off the background. So this one's cool. So it looks like similar settings here. So what I'm going to do is just Shift and then click the last photo from Eve, and then I'm going to hit sync. Okay, and then I'm going to synchronize all these settings, and let's see how they work across. That's looking pretty stinking good. So that's no clicks. Love it. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go to this one. This one's a little blown out here. That photo could definitely use some work, so let's go in there. I think both of these are probably a little blown. So let's go back and look at some of the presets. You can bring the tint back down in the greens. You can pull some of those yellows out of there. This one, you know, there's not a lot you can do with it. This is just really blown out. One thing I would do is, if I was like, you know, going and retouching, I would just take a, take and brush in some of this with some exposure. Just kind of bring some of that down. Maybe not that much, but, you know, somewhere in there where it makes it a little more pleasing to the eye. And then you can work with that a little bit. You just got some weird lighting going on there, but I think that definitely is better than where you came from. Gives it a film-like look. So here's the next one, and kind of dig this. It's a little red, maybe a little yellow. So we'll bring some of that down, bring the exposure down, and there you go. So before, after, gotta love it. All right, so let's move on. So here's another one from Whitney Tidmore. Whitney was a pet photographer, so she's into photographing pets and their companions. I love that. And so we did the first Fuji 400H+1 SP, and then we're gonna bring a little exposure in here, and then I would definitely pull a little clarity since it's such a close-up. You want to soften things up a little bit, and there you go. I kind of like that right there. I might warm it up a tad bit, somewhere there, bring it up to 4600. So there you go, before, after, before, after. And so if you notice, like this photo, I mean, this isn't a ton of, it doesn't look like photoshopped. It doesn't look like, you know, somebody just went crazy on it. But there's definitely a preset applied. It just gives it a natural look. It's what it's supposed to look like. So let's keep rolling. Claire Elise sent me this one. It's a beautiful photo. Love the bokeh. Love the background. It's really smooth. Looks like Canon 50L. I'm guessing, but anyway, let's jump in. So Fuji, I kind of like these. I like these pink tones that we're getting with these, and I'm going to drop the exposure down just a tad bit, and then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pull the saturation out of that green. See how that green is really nuclear in the back where it was? I'm just going to bring some of that out so she pops a little more. This one, I think you could actually, her skin's so fair that you could actually pull some saturation back in and get away with it. Add a little medium format grain, and boom. Let's look at the skin tones. That's where the money is right there. Is the skin tones. So I think the skin tones look pretty awesome. They look so natural. Everything looks so natural. And so she sent me 3 photos. Let's check. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select all. I'm going to synchronize, and let's see how they look. Oh, was it that? Is it really that easy? I think so. That was that easy, you guys. Check that out. Before, after on that one, and then before, after on that one. This one I may pull a little temperature down and push a little bit of exposure in there, and yeah. So that was that easy, and there you go. There's your before and your after. And look at these tones that you're getting out of the florals and all that. It's pretty rad. So, all right, these were sent to me from Cheyenne Williamson, and looks like senior prom or something like that. And again, you have not a lot of depth of field. Okay, you're shooting at 4.0 on a 35mm lens, so you know your subject is not going to pop off the background very much, like you would if you were shooting at 1.4 or 2.0. And so how do you make them really stand out? How do you make them pop? Let's do this. And a tiny bit of exposure. I'll warm it up just a tad bit. And throw some medium format grain. And yeah, look how they just pop off the page. Are you guys getting annoyed by that? I'm always moving that cursor around, sorry. So anyway, love that one. All right, here's another one, or here's a new one from Savannah Martin. This is a beautiful photo, love it. They look super in love. I dig that. And I love this third one. It's Fuji Pro 400H plus 2 SP. And I'm just gonna go one click and then add grain, and love it. You could go exposure down, or you could go where it's at. Either way looks good to me. Let's zoom in. Skin tones look great. I always laugh when people are like, what film looks best on like black skin tones, Asian skin tones, Caucasian skin tones, Hispanic skin tones? And really, they all look good on all skin tones. So can you guys just do me a favor and stop with that? I'm halfway kidding. So anyway, that was the first one from Savannah. Here's another one. Before and after. I like this third one again. Digging that. Just really gives them a lot of pop. I would maybe pull the saturation down. The contrast down two little clicks, and then bring a little bit of warmth. When you have a very fair skinned person, sometimes you can throw some warmth in, help them out a little bit. If it gets into those like bluish tints, you don't really want that. So before and after, let's look at skin tones again. That's where it counts. I mean, look at that, you guys. That is beautiful. And again, 3 clicks and you're done. And here's the last one for another one from Cheyenne Williamson. Looks like kind of the same thing, maybe prom or something like that. And it's just kind of flat, you know. Again, I don't know the lens or anything like that, but it's just kind of flat. And so one click, throw some grain on there, exposure 0.10, and there you go. So they just really come off the screen a lot more to me. And again, I'm not comparing these to 400H or just any of the regular presets. We're just kind of looking at them as they are. And you guys, these presets are they're killing it. They are really, as you see the befores and afters, they're really something special. And I don't know what else to say, but hey, Mastin Labs, you guys are killing it. Great job. Thank you guys for sending these photos over. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure and subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot of fun stuff on this channel, a lot of photo related stuff. If you're into shooting film, you definitely want to follow, because that's me. If you're in a hybrid, that's me. Filmmaking even. And just make sure and hit that subscribe button. So almost at the 20-minute mark. Got to bounce out of here. Actually, probably over at the 20-minute mark. But we'll see you guys soon. All right. If you have any questions, post them below. I will make sure to get to them. So if you have any questions, post them below. I'll get to those. All right, guys. Peace.